Hello, this is Anna Pacheco with SantaFe101.com, and my guest today is Debbi Moore. She is the president and CEO of the Las Cruces Chamber of Commerce. Debbi, do I have your permission to record this interview?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. Well, good. So Las Cruces, for people that may be watching this video, it is the second largest city in New Mexico, followed by Albuquerque. And so
It,
there's a lot going on in Las Cruces. And so today I'm hoping that you can tell me just a lot about what your chamber can offer people that are maybe considering moving to Doña Ana or to Las Cruces, what the chamber can provide, and kind of like the economic outlook, or yeah, the environment of Las Cruces in your area.
well, first of all, the chamber does offer a relocation package. There is a fee, but it is full of lots of material and information on both Las Cruces and Doña Ana County. And so they can feel free to contact our office. We'll be happy to send them to you. I think the most important thing I love, I've been here in Las Cruces for 5 years, is we have a true sense of family, of community. Our strengths are that we all work together, particularly when there's a crisis and challenges, and we just embrace new people and we put them to work, but they become immediately a part of our community and our family.
And so you've been in Las Cruces 5 years. Where did you move from?
Rio Rancho.
Rio Rancho. So that, and just again, that's kind of an interesting move for you, because Rio Rancho has now become the third largest city, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken. It's bigger than
yes.
Santa Fe now,
They
isn't
would,
it?
they would actually hope to become second after the census is released, but time will tell. I'm a
Right.
native of Oklahoma. I've been in the state of New Mexico since 1984. Fallen in love with the state. I've lived in Albuquerque, Hobbs, Rio Rancho, and now Las Cruces. And
And
yes,
so
it's a difference. Yeah, I went from the third largest to the second largest, and they would love to be second. We'll see how the census turns out.
And so you're a good person to speak to, in the sense that you moved here from Oklahoma. You've had a good more than what, almost 30 years, or more than 30 years here
More
in New
than
Mexico.
30. Mhm.
And so what attracted you? What brought you to New Mexico?
My former husband's job brought us out here to Albuquerque in 1984. And through our moves and ultimately divorce, and then I remarried and we stayed. And I was asked to apply for Rio Rancho. I was on staff at American Diabetes. I went from the Hobbs Chamber to Rio Rancho, to Albuquerque Chamber, and then American Diabetes, and then on to Rio Rancho for 14 years. And then Las Cruces recruited me in 2016. So I think I have a wide vast of knowledge on how enchanted our state is. Every community is unique, and I think that is what makes New Mexico truly the land of enchantment. Is we have so much going for us in so many different areas that there's not the same thing. If you live in Santa Fe, you can be in the mountains, you can hike, you can go to the ruins. If you're down here in Las Cruces, you can of course visit our neighbors to the south in El Paso. You can go to, when things are good, go to Mexico. But then we have great outdoor recreation here. And so that's what makes us so special in our state. I am totally partial to Las Cruces. I fall in love with the community. Our weather is just wonderful, and you don't have the snow. Although I don't get to wear my wool suits like I did when I was in Rio Rancho and going to the session, but it's that sense of history here that is so powerful, and the value of our Hispanic culture and our Native American culture on our community is really a great thing for people to, they just embrace it. You could golf probably 10 months out of the year.
So, and you mentioned the relocation package. First of all, what does that relocation package cost? You said there is a fee.
It depends on, we customize it. If they want phone books, it can be about, $30, give or take. It's just to pay for the postage. And that's, so it depends on really what they want. We go through them. We have a standard one that's about $15. And then we do send them 2 days. So we make sure our people get them in time. Because a lot of times when people call the chamber, they are in that mode to move, and so they're calling you immediately, and they need that. So we do send everything 2 days.
And so do you help things with like movers and realtors and that type of thing? Is that all that information
Yes,
there?
yes,
So you're doing a
exactly.
lot of the work for them.
Yes,
And then what
exactly.
about if they, what if they are a small business? Say they have a business in Oklahoma and they want to bring it to New Mexico. How can you help a small business kind of, set up shop and just hit the ground running?
So when a small business calls and wants to relocate, we do a lot of the same things, but we also add some of the ordinances and legislation that impacts the business both on a local level and a state level. So we add some things with that, and work with them and customize it, connect them, resource who they need to talk to, whether it be permitting with the state or whether it would be permitting with the city or our economic development people. So it kind of depends on what industry they're in, but certainly welcome them with open arms.
And how large is your chamber? How many members do you have?
Right now we're about 700. COVID's kind of hit us, but we're about 700 members.
Okay, and is it kind of top heavy with like retail businesses, or is it kind of spread across the board? Like what type of businesses actually engage or are part of your chamber?
Our chamber is very balanced. You have your retail for your mom and pops, you got some of your regionals, you have your industries, electric, your larger companies, your banking and financial institutions. So we have a very well balanced nonprofit. So we have I think, a very balanced membership.
And what are some of the services you provide throughout the year? Do you do like what type of community events? Most chambers are doing things throughout the year.
So we typically don't do what I would define as a community event, like tourism related. There's a separate tourism department here. We do a pre-COVID, obviously, was strong on networking, seminars, education, and advocacy. And advocacy is really speaking up as the voice of business on city, county, state, and federal legislature. We also are the home of White Sands Missile Range, so we have certainly an advocate for at the federal level for the military. And then, of course, we support the aerospace with i.e. Spaceport America. So we have some little diversity, and we have agriculture that's really key down here. We have the crops such as the the chilies. We have grapes for our vineyards, and then just general overall crops. We have dairy.
Pecan trees. I know you have pecan trees.
Yes, we do. I was going to mention that last. So pecans, we are second only to Georgia in production. And so pecans is huge here, but we have a huge agriculture influence within our community.
And you mentioned, so how far is Lost for our listeners or our people that are watching this? How far are you? How long is the drive from Las Cruces to the border of Mexico, the city of Juarez?
Juarez would be about an hour. I've never been there since I've been down here, so it's about an hour. It's about 40 minutes over to El Paso, and then really about 45 to the actual border.
Exactly. And then do you in the past, does the chamber have any type of connections with Mexico, like businesses that are maybe they're based in Juarez, but they're really an American company? Or do you have any partners or members, pertaining to Mexico?
We don't have any members right now, but we do work with our Borderplex Alliance, which is this alliance that connects Texas and New Mexico and our communities. And of course, we have down right on the border in Mexico, Santa Teresa area that's huge, largely manufacturing and that connectivity. So we have great partnerships across we call it two nations, 3 states, and about 4 or 5 cities that are kind of connected from that border alliance. And one thing I discovered since I've been down here in 2016, is that this area really got immigration. They really got connecting the border right. And that is important. I mean, we do have people. Prior to COVID, the amount of cars that went across the border to work. So we've got Mexican heritage people that come to Las Cruces and El Paso to work, and vice versa. So that just going back and forth. Of course, it kind of stopped right now, particularly with our agriculture. A lot of the people would come across and pick our grapes and pick our pecans and things of that nature. But that we really showcase that. It's a powerful tool.
And then, in Las Cruces, you have the chamber, but do you also service other communities in Doña Ana, like Hatch?
Yes, we're the Greater Las Cruces Chamber, so we do serve all of Doña County. Many of them have a volunteer-driven chamber, but I believe every community needs a chamber. So I help them with their establishment and making sure that they stay. And in fact, in my other role, I am chair of the statewide New Mexico Chamber of Commerce exec. So part of my role is to lead our small communities, particularly through COVID. So our chambers have been in the trenches with our businesses since March of 2020. We've been there. I always say that we're the keeper of the tiers. We work with SBDC to offer seminars, things like that. But these volunteer-driven chambers in our rural communities, such as Hatch and even Sunland Park and even Mesilla, Chaparral, any of those communities within Diana County, we do assist them, and many of their businesses are part of our chamber.
And you mentioned earlier the Native American community. Now, I do know of the community of Tortugas down in Las Cruces. Is that the community you're referring
There's a
to?
couple of colonists here and the Native American influence. Not like it was when I was in Rio Rancho, but that's more of a residential versus business driven. But we do support it. So we believe here down, and let's go back to my opening statements. The power of community and working together is the chamber is the heart of the community. We connect the dots. But we also know that we have employees, we have business owners, we have employees. And when there's a need, whether it be food insecurity, whether in the time of COVID, it was paying rent, we've drawn together. And that goes for all of Doña County. That's just not Las Cruces. That's all of us working together to make sure that our community, and I say community county, that we are together, that we help our neighbors. And that's the power of our community. We're strong in that area.
When we say help your neighbors, like, is it financial help or what type of help do you provide?
Oh, it can be financial, it can be training, it can be babysitting, it can be transportation. We have the resources to connect the dots. So for example, if someone in Hatch needs to come to a job interview, for lack of a better thing, in Las Cruces, we have the resources between our various partners to make that happen and working together. That's what I mean. It's help is defined as when there's a need, whatever that need is. Doña County and our community is strong in seeing how we can solve that need.
And you were saying that you oversee, or you have a leadership role for all of the chambers throughout the state. Have you all pulled together during this pandemic crisis as well?
Yes, I'm president of my execs association, and yes, we meet twice a week for calls to catch up, to hear from cabinet secretaries, from Department of Health, the emergency preparedness, environmental, all of that, plus just share stories and how can we help other communities and showcase that. So yes, we twice a week since March.
And is that information available, what you learned from those meetings, is that available on your website, or how do your members stay abreast of what's going on with you folks, of the work you're doing?
So for local, we each chamber, mine specifically, we send out from, prior COVID, we would send out weekly newsletters, email, our meetings, we would connect. Prior COVID, our email list may get 4 to 5 emails a week, because that was the only connection we had. So the minute we receive the information, it goes out immediately, so that it's real time. We have a COVID, and most chambers do a COVID page attached to their website where they can put all the resources. And one thing I think has happened in all our communities, and Santa Fe is no differently, is that chambers may or may not have been perceived to be working in a silo, because we're kind of driven on getting businesses up. COVID has enabled us to say, okay, people are in need of information, and we need to make sure our cities, our counties, our SBDC, small business development centers, every loan, the bank, we all need to work together to make sure we're all sending out the right messaging. And that's what's happened here. We've got several collaborations going on a local level, that we are all on the same page. We're providing, there's a shop Southern New Mexico, where we've encouraged our businesses to post their open, their hours. We have a great Facebook page. One of our community leaders put up about restaurants, and they shop, this has got a special today or something. The collaboration and the partnerships, I think, even if a community hadn't had that before, COVID has forced us. And that makes New Mexico special. And as you're recruiting people to come in, is that every community has their sense of culture and working together. And that's why New Mexico is a land of enchantment.
And do you know offhand, I mean, from what I hear from the national news that, restaurants have been hit really hard. Do you know offhand in your area if a lot have closed down, or are they hanging on, or?
A combination. We don't have exact numbers. I would say, off the top of my head, I would say maybe, I don't even want to say a number. We've had some. We have some that are hanging on. It's so COVID in the restaurants and tourism industry has been hit devastated. I mean, they're devastated. So the key is, how do we as leaders and business leaders in our communities provide the tools for information to help them? I've been saying, you pivot, you navigate, you react, and then you recover. We're just kind of going back and forth right now. Fortunately, most of the state now is yellow, and we're offering inside dining. But we as chambers and we as business organizations have to be ahead of what they don't know, so we can keep them in business. Are we giving them the tools to help them navigate and recover?
And then through your seminars, do you recruit people that are, say, that have the expertise in marketing or technology, or what type of seminars do you provide?
Yes, exactly that. Well, during COVID, we've been doing a lot of social media. We've been doing a lot of Zooming, how to use Zoom, creating a website presence, things like that. And we do get experts. We also use best practices. We've had some of our members that have navigated these rough waters, maybe a little bit more outside the box than others. And then we've had discussions and panels on that. So I've thought of outside the box, how to communicate with businesses.
And have you partnered with any financial institutions to provide economic relief during this time?
As in education, or as in actual money?
Well, like maybe there's like like a low interest loan out there that people may not know about, and so somebody's contacted the chamber, and the chamber gets that information out. I'm not sure. I just thought.
Yes. So we've had several seminars since March on PPP, on EIDL loans, on grants. The chamber actually was the administrator for the grants in Diana County outside Las Cruces this year. So we've connecting people, connecting information, and we will continue to do that.
Okay. And then you also mentioned, we're going to kind of switch gears here because we're getting close to the end of the interview.
Okay.
Spaceport America. What are you doing at that? Tell us a little bit about that. That's always exciting.
So it is exciting. And Virgin Galactic, we have both Spaceport and Virgin Galactic representatives on our board, and we have an aerospace industry, and we also work close with White Sands Missile Range. So what we're doing with that is we want to bring in industry sectors, people that are going to test out there, people that are going to fly, because that's money to Las Cruces, and make really grow that industry. We're a leader. It's just on the cusp of really exploding, where it can be a real economic driver for not just our area, but the state.
And what type of businesses would then come out here?
So it would depend on the industry sectors. It could be people that are testing rockets. It could be people that are doing some testing there. It could be mechanics or things that they need out there for mechanic and things of that nature. And it's owned by the state, so a lot of that, it was through state recruitment and state procurement. But it just depends on what their focus is at any given time. And Virgin Galactic is moving their eventually their headquarters totally here. They've brought in about maybe 100 families in the last 2 years.
You're saying totally here. Where are they now?
In California.
And they're coming to the city of Las Cruces.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And how far are you from the actual spaceport? The property.
So actual spaceport, we're about an hour and a half away. But Virgin Galactic's offices are here in Las Cruces.
Because you're close to airports. I mean, they need to be, they just can't be in the middle of nowhere because they need to have, an infrastructure, correct? a city
Correct.
that's up and running.
Yes.
They have an airport, they
So,
have grocery
you know,
stores.
yes, so we don't have a commercial, I mean, we do have a commercial airline, but not like Southwest Airlines doesn't fly, but we have a really good airport here in Las Cruces. So many of the people that come in are coming in on private planes and boutique airlines. So that's been part of the increase of infrastructure and things like that, is making sure we as a community are ready and poised for a lot of this infrastructure to happen.
And you also, I mean, again, you mentioned El Paso's just what, 40 minutes away. They have a major airport, a bigger airport there. So that's
They
great.
did, but we want them to get on those boutique airlines that fly to Las Cruces.
Well, good. So, we are at the end of the interview. I told you this would go fast. Is there anything you'd want to say at the end, about Las Cruces itself, about your chamber? And if somebody's watching this, they should contact you immediately, because they're sold on Las Cruces now.
Our website is lascruces.org, Las Cruces being one word, .org. And I will just finish with the words, Las Cruces is a great place to call home.
Excellent. I want to thank you again for this interview.
You're welcome. Thanks, Anna.